to say Super Bowl. At least on TV, they're not. And what's funny is I wrote out these notes, like kind of breaking down the teams and what I thought about them and the X factors and things like that. And I'm gonna go over all of that with you guys. But I still haven't figured out who I think is gonna win. I still haven't done it. I have all the stats. I've like looked at it. I have the matchups and stuff, and I'm like, who do I think? I don't know yet. We're gonna work through it, but first, before we get to the Super Bowl, I'm just gonna quickly go over the award winners. I'm not gonna get into in depth on any of these or anything like that, right? So our MVP is Lamar Jackson. Kind of a little bit, just kind of won it by process of elimination, right? The Ravens have the best record in the NFL at 13-4. He was in the top 10 in QBR, top 10 in yards per pass attempt. He was top 10 in touchdown to interception rate, and he led the NFL in yards per rush at 5.5 yards per rush, and that's not just yards per rush among quarterbacks, that is against all players. So even, Lamar Jackson averaged more yards per rush than even running backs in the NFL. Lamar Jackson is only the 5th player to win multiple MVP awards in his first 6 seasons, the others being Jim Brown, Kurt Warner, Brett Favre, and of course Patrick Mahomes. Your offensive player of the year is Christian McCaffrey, running back from the San Francisco 49ers, who find themselves getting ready for the big game. Christian McCaffrey had one of the most productive seasons in league history. He led the NFL in scrimmage yards per game at 126.4, scrimmage touchdowns at 21, rushing yards 1,459, first downs 114, and 10-plus yard runs with 44 while playing 16 games. He's the 3rd player in NFL history to post more than 2,000 yards in a season for 2 different franchises, obviously the first being the Carolina Panthers. Your defensive player of the year is Myles Garrett with the Cleveland Browns, who unfortunately couldn't get anywhere in the playoffs. I was really hoping they would, to be honest. It was kind of a punch in the gut to see them go out as early as they did. He had 14 sacks, and he was the captain of the best defense in the entire NFL when the Cleveland Browns led the league in defensive efficiency, yards per game allowed, 3-and-out rate. Myles Garrett also finished 2nd in pass rush win rate, despite facing the highest double team rate in the entire league. He was double teamed on 28.8% of rushes. Just imagine being double teamed that much. How frustrating. Offensive Rookie of the Year, no surprise here. You have C.J. Stroud, who, not only was he the best rookie quarterback in the league, he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, period. He was the first quarterback drafted in the top 2 positions of the draft since 1967 to win a playoff game as a rookie. He was also the youngest rookie quarterback to win a playoff game, surpassing Michael Vick, who previously held that record. Stroud set the record for most pass attempts without an interception to start a quarterback career with 191, and he also led all quarterbacks in the entire league in touchdown-to-interception ratio. He had 4,108 passing yards, the 3rd most for a rookie behind Andrew Luck and Justin Herbert. And the most yards he ever had in a game was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He had 470 yards, the most ever in one game for a rookie quarterback. so well deserved. CJ Stroud, and I cannot wait to see how much of a monster this dude turns into next season. DBOY of Will Anderson Jr., not really surprised there. Devin Witherspoon came in fourth, which I was kind of thinking maybe deserves second or third, but it is what it is. Anderson was the deserved winner here. He was the number 3 pick in the draft, obviously. He was third in pass rush win rate at 25.8%. He was the 6th in run stop win rate among defensive ends, at least 400 snaps. He finished the season with 10 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and 22 quarterback hits, despite missing 2 games. Coach of the year is Kevin Stefanski with the Cleveland Browns, which, is obviously, if you're paying attention, it's not really a surprise. The things he dealt with Deshaun Watson going down, Nick Chubb going down, bringing in, old Joe Flacco to run the offense and still getting into the playoffs and, being the head coach in charge of the best defense in the NFL. And having an 11-6 record with all of that going on, he was well deserving of Coach of the Year honors. Comeback Player of the Year was Joe Flacco, which he was my pick. I was really hoping they wouldn't give it to Damar Hamlin, even though Damar Hamlin is such a good story on a personal level. His play on the field really wasn't anything to write home about, whereas Joe Flacco, came off the bench. He's almost 40 years old, and he had 1,616 yards in his first 5 games, the most of any quarterback in the league over that period of games. And Cleveland won 4 games in a row with Flacco at QB, which clinched the playoffs for them. So there's your awards. Now let's get into the Super Bowl. So I wrote up just a couple of things here. First I'm going to talk about the Chiefs, then the Niners, then some keys to the game. So on offense, the 49ers are the number 1 rated offense in the NFL. The Chiefs are the number 7 rated offense in the NFL. On defense, the Chiefs have the edge there. They're the number 5 defense in the NFL. The 49ers are the number 7 defense in the NFL. Now for the Chiefs, if they win this game, they would be the 4th team ever in NFL history to win 3 Super Bowls in a span of 5 years. Technically the 5th team overall, but Brady and Belichick's Patriots did it twice, so the 4th, unique team to do it. Patrick Mahomes is 3-0 against Kyle Shanahan's 49ers in his career, and he averages the 3rd most points per game of any team he plays against the 49ers. There's only 2 teams he does better against points-wise than the Niners in his career, but obviously they've only matched up with each other 3 times, so not a common pairing. Mahomes only has a 3.7% sack rate. He has the 2nd most expected points added out of scrambles, behind only Josh Allen. So a lot of quarterbacks, when they scramble because they're being pressured, most of the time they're not adding points because of that, but only Josh Allen is getting more points out of scrambles than Patrick Mahomes. Now a negative, the Chiefs receivers have a 7.3% drop rate, which we've definitely seen that rear its ugly head a couple times this season, I've pointed out. And that is the 2nd worst drop rate in the entire NFL. Now it must be noted that the Chiefs receiver drop rate has gone down to just 3.3% in the postseason. And I'm sure that has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Kadarius Toney has not been playing because he's been injured. Oh wait, it entirely has to do with that. But unfortunately for the Kansas City Chiefs, Kadarius Toney is now healthy and potentially will be ready to play in the Super Bowl. It's a matter of whether or not Andy Reid puts him into the game. Gibson in man coverage. So if the 49ers go man, Kelsey will be cooking him there. So they're kind of forcing them to play zone a little bit. 49ers. So far in this postseason, Brock Purdy had a game-winning drive against the Packers. And then the more notable thing is the 17-point comeback against the Lions. And they can look at that in two different ways, and I think they're both valid. One of which is that this is a team that has tenacity. They can go down and they're still a threat, right? So if you go into halftime and the Chiefs are up 14 points or something, the Chiefs can't take their foot off the gas because this is a team, and this 49ers team doesn't say quit, right? They're going to keep going, they're going to keep grinding, and all of a sudden they get the momentum back. And you're like, wait, what just happened? How are they up now? And you don't really realize. You thought you had them on the ropes, but they've hit you with that counter punch, and now you're falling back onto the canvas, right? So that's something. The 49ers team are tenacious. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it that they allow themselves to get into these holes that then they have to get heroics to get themselves out of. And at some point, the heroics are not going to work. I say that as a Seahawks fan. You know, for years and years, our success predicated on the heroics of Russell Wilson. And then one day we were in the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, and all of a sudden Russell Wilson's heroics didn't work anymore. But just because the heroics don't always work doesn't mean that they will not work this time. Even though it is the Super Bowl, it's still very possible Christian McCaffrey is the hero. Brock Purdy is the hero, even if they get themselves into a hole. So there's two ways you can look at it. I think they're both valid. Purdy struggles against zone defense, but is the best quarterback in the league against man defense by quarterback rating. But something to be there. So these are the best quarterback against man coverage, and the Chiefs run man coverage the fifth most of any team in the NFL. So Brock Purdy is going to be facing a lot of man coverage in this game, potentially, unless the Chiefs change up their playbook to try and exploit that. But again, then you're kind of going away from what got you to the Super Bowl in the first place, which is exactly what messed up the Ravens. Having Lamar drop back and be a pocket passer when that's not his strength. So, you can't go away from your strengths, even if your strength is a strength for the other team as well. So it's a balancing act. The 49ers have the number one defense against passes going into the middle of the field, and that is where Travis Kelce gets the majority of his passes. The majority of Travis Kelce's receptions happen in the middle of the field, and that is the part of the field the 49ers are the best at locking down. So that's going to be a matchup issue for Travis Kelce in zone coverage and man coverage. Like I said, Travis Kelce will have the advantage, but when the 49ers run zone, that could be an issue for Kelce. But then also that zone will also allow Travis Kelce more room to operate. So there's going to be a kind of a chess match there with regards to the defense and Travis Kelce, and it's going to be a back and forth all night there. They're going to get him sometimes. He's going to get them sometimes. The 49ers play a zone-heavy defense, like I just said. It'll allow Kelce to find openings in the middle of the field, but in man coverage. But then they're also good at covering the middle of the field, right? So, give and take. The 49ers have only led for 22.9% of the time in these playoffs, which is the lowest of any team since the Los Angeles Chargers in 1994. At that point, the San Diego Chargers. So they're in the Super Bowl, but during the entire duration of their playoff run so far, they've only had the lead for less than a quarter of the time, which again is telling you these are come-from-behind wins at the end of the game, which is sustainable until it isn't, but who's to say if it's sustainable beyond the point of the Super Bowl or not, right? Purdy's quarterback rating is 40 points higher in the second half compared to the first half in this postseason. His second half QBR, I think, is around 90, and his first half QBR is around 50. So again, come from behind team, tenacity. They play better in the second half than the first half, whatever you want to say about that, but to demonstrably. Brock Purdy is better in the second half than the first half. And then a negative for the Niners here is that Jake Moody has missed 4 kicks in the last 3 games, whereas he missed only 4 kicks in the first 16 games of the season, so he's been missing more lately, which is interesting. Some keys to this game, I think, for the 49ers. Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, and their ability to contain Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco, I think I've mentioned him in every game for the Chiefs this season and this postseason. He's been an absolute monster. I feel like every game he's going off, he has been instrumental to the success of the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's going to be one of those 2 linemen, whether it's Fred Warner or whether it's Dre Greenlaw. They have to contain him. If they can shut him down, I think the 49ers have a really good shot at winning this. But he's averaging 84.7 yards per game in these playoffs, which is insane. Like, he's been going off. Travis Kelce is 23 for 27 receptions. Travis Kelce is 23 for 27 on receptions for 262 yards so far in the playoffs. Now again, he's going to be playing in the middle of the field, which the Niners are good at locking down, but they have to lock him down because he has, even though I thought in the regular season Kelce had been a little bit lackluster, in this postseason he has been going off, and he can be a game breaker just like Pacheco can. Snead for Kansas City. I think he can completely take out one of Ayuk or Samuel, but getting Deebo Samuel back is a key for the 49ers. Now they have him back. Because if they just had Ayuk out there as their main receiver, then obviously McCaffrey's also a reception threat, right? And they have other guys, but Snead can completely take just one receiver out of the game. He has a minus 50% defensive value over average, which is the second most of any cornerback in the entire NFL. That's basically completely taking out that wide receiver. And so the versatility of having both Ayuk and Samuel, who are both elite wide receivers, is going to be key to the 49ers winning this, especially with the Christian McCaffrey threat as well, his dual threat. Because Snead will take one of them out of the game, but not the other. So I'm sure in certain coverages he's going to be switched onto one or the other, or, I don't know how that's going to work. Maybe just focuses on one the whole game. Personally, I'd say probably Deebo, focus on Deebo, but we'll see what happens. And then again, the X factor, I think, for the Niners is Christian McCaffrey. I think that if they didn't have Christian McCaffrey, they wouldn't be here. Obviously, just won Offensive Player of the Year, but he was instrumental in that Detroit Lions comeback. He was instrumental in that the win against the Packers, right? And if Christian McCaffrey is able to break through the Kansas City defense, if he's able to do what he can do, I think that he'll be the key to winning this game for the Niners. But if the Chiefs can take Christian McCaffrey out of the game, I think that they take the Chiefs out of the game, or the Niners out of the game. Because he is a guy that can not win a game single-handedly, right? Because we saw that with the Panthers. But if you put him in a system like he's in now with the players he has now, he's a guy that can win you games just by what he offers that team, and having those threats of Ayuk and Samuel plus McCaffrey. That's a lot you have to cover, and you have to be perfect on defense all game long. That's it. I also had concerns the Chiefs against that Ravens defense, especially in the second half. Patrick Mahomes was looking really uncomfortable, but that Ravens defense is better than the Niners defense, and I have to remember that. I still haven't. I'm literally I'm reading all this, and I still am unable to come to it. I'm going to say Chiefs by 3. 27-24 Chiefs by 3. That's my bold prediction. I think the experience is going to matter. I think that the X factor of Patrick Mahomes is going to matter, because Brock Purdy's a good quarterback, obviously. He's proven that. Patrick Mahomes is a little extra something. He can extend plays, he can pull a rabbit out of a hat. He can make things that look a little Mahomey. And I think that's going to matter. And, yeah, that's my bold prediction. Chiefs by 3. I think that the 49ers will go down early. I think the Chiefs will punch them in the mouth early, much like the Detroit Lions did. And I think the 49ers will respond going into halftime. I think we go into halftime 17-7 Kansas City. I think we come out, 49ers are going to get another score right off the bat, go 14-17. Then I think the Niners will score again. I think they're going to get a lot of momentum. And it's going to look like they're going to win. They go up 21. Excuse me. I said 17-7, 14-17. Yeah, they go up 21-17. I think the Chiefs will respond. Go up 24-21. And I think the Niners will go down. They'll kick a field goal. Tie the game. 2-minute drive. Or 2-minute drill. Kansas City goes down. Travis Kelce will have a big reception to put him in field goal range. They'll show Taylor Swift on the sidelines cheering. And Kansas City will kick a field goal to win the game by 3. That's my prediction. That's my script. I'm sure I'm going to be wrong. On paper, if the Niners are a better team. I think that defensive difference will matter. I think that the intangibles of experience will matter. And I think that's going to be the difference here. So that's my bold prediction. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm sure many of you will disagree, some might not. If you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this almost every single day. Till next time, guys. Bye-bye.